The A's return home to Oakland for Game 3 of the American League Division Series with a 2-0 lead and all the momentum. The Twins have their backs to the wall. They must win to survive. Next on ESPN.
The following is an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
They held the best regular season home record in baseball. But something has changed now that October has come to Minnesota. Now they're in a hole. And what was a cozy dome is now a hostile coliseum. With some help from an overeager Torrey Hunter and the turf, Oakland made it advantage A's 2-0. But Mauer, Morneau, and the Twins have no shortage of self-confidence. They did come back for more than a dozen games to win the Central Division title. The ALCS is on the horizon for the A's. One win and they're in. The Twins trying to stay alive. It's Game 3 of the Division Series, starting now. This Division Series has come to Oakland, California, and that means baseball outdoors. And today, in front of their hometown fans, the A's would love nothing more than to sweep the Twins. Oakland one win away from the American League Championship Series. Major League Baseball's 2006 Division Series is presented by Budweiser. And this afternoon from the Coliseum in Oakland, it's Game 3. The A's on top, 2-0 in the best of 5. The A's have played loose, they've played sharp. And Mark Kotsay will be the first one to tell you that Lady Luck has also smiled on them. The play of the series so far, after all, involved one of the great center fielders in baseball making a rare error in judgment. Game 2 Wednesday, tied 2-2. 7th inning, Torrey Hunter, 5-time Gold Glover, decides to dive for Kotsay's routine single. It gets by Hunter. Kotsay racing all the way around. A 2-run inside the park home run. Ball game. The A's go on to win 5-2. Now, Oakland can win the series today, but one caution. The A's are 0-9 in their last 9 clinchers in the postseason. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Northern California. I'm Dave O'Brien alongside Rick Sutcliffe and Eric Karros. Duke Castiglione joining us in just a moment. In an elimination game today, Minnesota going with Brad Radke, Rick Sutcliffe. And here's a guy whose shoulder is so torn up, he probably shouldn't even be pitching right now, let alone in such a big game.
A fractured socket and a torn labrum. Most people would have shut it down, but not Brad Radke. Today, he's going to try to put the Twins on his shoulders or shoulder and carry them to a victory. This team has played tight. They've made errors, they've not scored, and the bullpen has been bad. They need to loosen up, and Brad Radke today may be exactly what the doctor ordered.
Eric Karros, you talk about a team that's loose. That is certainly the Oakland A's. They play that rollicking, freewheeling kind of style. And the man who personifies that for them is their young first baseman, Nick Swisher.
Well, Nick Swisher is great. When you think about this offense, you think Frank Thomas, Eric Chavez, but add Nick Swisher to the group. 35 home runs. This former first-round pick of Ohio State is one of the best young power hitters in the game, and he enjoys playing, and sometimes that's perceived as cockiness or arrogance, but I talked to him prior to the game. He says, look, I love the game. I want to enjoy it while I'm playing. These fans in Oakland enjoy watching Nick Swisher.
So Swisher and the A's right on the verge right now of a 3-game sweep over the Minnesota Twins. They will put the baseball into the hands of Dan Herron, a 14-game winner, to do something Oakland hasn't been able to do lately, win that clincher and put the A's into the ALCS. Coliseum will be packed, and these fans have been waiting a long, long time to see the A's win that put-away game. They can take this series 3-0 with a victory over Minnesota. Now, Oakland will have to do it at less than full strength as we turn to Duke Castiglione. Duke, one of the best second basemen in the American League, Mark Ellis, will play no more for Oakland this season defensively.
That's right, OB. Mark Ellis, one of the best fielding second basemen in all of baseball, is out for the remainder of the postseason with a broken right index finger. It happened 9th inning, Game 2. Joe Nathan on the mound throws a two-seam fastball in on Ellis's hands, and there you have it. It hits him on the right index finger. Ellis told me he knew it was broken right away. Matter of fact, he said, I had x-rays taken. It showed 3 different breaks. I asked him if he could pitch run. He said, I asked the doctor that very same question. The doctor said, not a good idea. If you dive into a bag or you slide, you could make it worse.
All right, Duke, thank you very much. A's skipper Ken Maka Told us before the game he got the manager's job. When he got it, he talked to Lou Piniella for about an hour one day. And he said he learned a ton. And Lou told him, in this game, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You have to concentrate on winning today. Today is all that matters. He goes with Jimenez at that position on this day as they play to advance to the American League Championship Series. And Twins manager Ron Gardenhire hoping tomorrow will matter for Minnesota. Game 3, all that counts for his ball club right now on the edge of elimination. Here's his lineup presented by Prestone. At the top, Luis Castillo. He has yet to make an impact on the series with his speed. Nick Punto does not have a hit yet in this division series. Followed by Joe Mauer, the first batting champ in 3 years to play in the postseason in either league. Michael Kadire hits out of the cleanup spot. He homered in game 2. And a man right behind him, Justin Morneau, also belted a long home run, but the hitting stopped there. Torrey Hunter says Kotze's home run, well, that knuckled on him at the last moment. He does not regret the dive. Rondell White can provide good power from the 7th hole. Jason Tyner is the DH for the 2nd straight game. And Jason Bartlett, number 9 hitter, has faced Heron, but he has never gotten a hit off of the right-hander, who comes in 14-13. This is Heron's 6th career playoff appearance, Rick, but his first start in the postseason.
Yeah, he came over in a trade from the St. Louis Cardinals for Mark Mulder, so you know that the Oakland A's think a lot about him. 14 victories on the year, just 26 years of age. Obi, as you mentioned, he has postseason experience, but he has never started a postseason game. The key to Minnesota and for Castillo is to get on base, put pressure on him early.
So the switch hitting second baseman in the box. We're ready for game 3. And the first pitch is high and wide for ball 1. We are underway as the A's carry in a 2-0 lead in the best of 5. You see Castillo's numbers during the regular season. Very good bat on ball hitter. Tries to bunt, fouls that one away to the left.
Well, it really is ever so important for Luis Castillo to get on base. In the last game, the Minnesota Twins in 9 innings only had the leadoff hitter on base 1 time, and that's when Michael Kadire led off with a home run. And it's tough to mount any type of offense when you're not getting that leadoff hitter on base.
1 ball, 1 strike, and the 6-5 righty delivers down low. Now Castillo did reach base 5 times in the first 2 games of the series, but his performance for Minnesota has been oddly disappointing. He failed to get down a key bunt in game 1. He's also caught stealing. Loops that one into left field for a base hit. Exactly the start the Twins had in mind. Castillo is aboard to start this contest.
Well, the Oakland A's defense has been exceptional this year, and it is anchored by 5-time Gold Glove winner Eric Chavez. He was great the last game. He took a single away from Joe Mauer with runners on first and second. Not great offensively this year, but unbelievable defensively.
Chavez in close at third to charge on a bunt. We'll see what Punto has in mind. A .290 hitter during the season, showing bunt and takes down low. He is 0 for 7 in this series.
Well, you know, we were down in manager Ron Gardenhire's office, and he was telling us how important it was for Minnesota to get on the board and get on the board early. They have not let it all this series, and that he would try to manufacture a run early in the game.
A big hole on the right side, not bunting this time, swings away and fouls it off.
Well, Nick Punto has played some nice defense, and he's made 2 wonderful catches right in the corner, the same spot in this game. So familiar with doing it the first time, right back at it the second time.
Well, the only difference was a different jersey. The second time he didn't get that spike of his caught up in the netting. Castillo not running, and that's in for a strike on Punto. Joe Mauer on deck to check out K-zone.
Obi, like there, he was trying to bunt for a base hit. I don't get that. Look at all the movement on his part. Like he's trying to jump out of the way there to get the call. That was a straight out sacrifice bunt. They're trying to put 1 run up on the board early, as EK mentioned. You wanted to get him over there on that pitch. Now you can't bunt. You might hit into the double play.
The 1-2, Castillo bluffs, a high chop towards second. Jimenez to Scudero, got the out there. That's it. Safely aboard at first is Punto, but they cannot advance the lead runner. And it's the little things, isn't it? The devil in the details. Reason the Twins are down 0-2.
You lose a lot of speed on the base paths now with Castillo not being on. But watch this ground ball. Think about this right here. Instead of D'Angelo staying still, what if he would have charged that ball? What if Mark Ellis were out there, who set the all-time fielding percentage record for second base? If he charges that ball, he might be able to hold up Castillo, throw to first, get the rundown going on. I mean, we'll watch D'Angelo Jimenez. He's played out there at second base a lot, but he's not Mark Ellis.
It's a fascinating story, too. Actually came back from a broken neck 6 years ago. We'll have more on that story as Punto dives back in. 1 out here in the first inning. And again, the Twins unable to drop down a sacrifice bunt. And there's Ellis. He said, "I'll be the best cheerleader you're going to find anywhere in baseball at this time of the year." But he can't do anything to help them out here. Up high for a ball on Mauer.
Putting the pressure on Herron means having speed on the base paths. Punto can run a little bit, but he's not, the stolen base league leader that Castillo has been, or does he create that presence? Right now, Herron can just vary his delivery to home, but he can focus on making a good pitch to Mauer.
Right through there at the knees for a strike. Mauer, for a batting champ, has had a pretty quiet series. He is 1 for 7. And of course, Minnesota as a team, this is a major thread in the first couple of games leading up to game 3. They've been dismal with men in scoring position. 0 for 14, but right now just trying to get a man down to second base or better. The 1-1 way outside.
We've heard both of these managers, OB, in this series talk about you only manage when you have to. Well, Ken Maka saying before the game, I just want to stay out of their way. We're hot right now. On the other hand, to me, Ron Gardenhire right now has to manage a little bit, and that could mean the hit and run right here. Put some pressure on that defense, create a hole to get a ground ball through.
The runner goes, and that one lifted into left field for a base hit. Pulling up into second is Punto, but indeed they put the play on, and the Twins have something going on with runners at first and second.
Well, and that shows you what kind of hitter Joe Mauer is. The fact that you are putting a hit and run on with your batting champ, and as Sut just called it, I mean, a perfectly executed hit and run. Try and make something happen instead of letting it happen. And for this Minnesota Twins team, it has not happened. 0 for 14, as you mentioned earlier, OB, with runners in scoring position.
Well, now Punto is into scoring territory. Mauer aboard at first, and here comes Michael Kadire, the cleanup man. 284, 24 homers, 109 runs batted in. And he takes a ball. And Kadire with a home run and a single in game 2. Kadire and Morneau going back-to-back in the 6th inning, tied the game 2-2. It was bedlam in the Metrodome at that point, but got pretty quiet thereafter on Hunter's play in center. That breaking ball down low.
Well, and this is a situation with runners on first and second that Minnesota had 4 different times in game 2. Now, granted, there were 2 outs in all of those situations, but again, they were unable to translate. You can see 0 for 14 with runners in scoring position.
The 2-0 pitch right through there for a strike. Kadire taking all the way. Morneau on deck. Back-to-back hitters driving in over 100 runs during the regular season. So Herron looking for a ground ball right at somebody and trying to get out of a first inning jam. Ground ball sharply hit. Chavez to second, one on to first. Double play. Herron gets that ground ball indeed. Around the horn. 5-4-3. That twin killing suffocates the Twins in the first inning.
That's right.
A's fans delighted by the defensive effort, the double play turn to get out of the inning. Now we go to the home half of the first inning. We check out the A's lineup presented by Prestone. Jason Kendall will start things off at 295 during the regular season. Mark Kotsay under the weather right now, a cold. Of course, he has the bad back and a groin injury. But back in there, Milton Bradley, 14 home runs during 2006. The big hurt Frank Thomas with 39 of them at 114 RBIs. Eric Chavez in quite a postseason slump, 1 for his last 30. Jay Payton's got a hitting streak going, though, 8 in a row in the playoffs. Nick Swisher, big bat, 35 home runs out of the number 7 hole. Marco Scutaro is brilliant defensively in game 2. And D'Angelo Jimenez, his first at bat in the playoffs, coming up in this contest. The new second baseman up against the right-hander, Brad Radke, who's already said he's retiring when the playoffs are over.
He has started and won in the postseason, and he has started ball games right here with 2 of those victories. You look at the year, we know about the injuries, but we're learning a lot right now about the heart of Brad Radke.
Longtime Minnesota Twin just hopes that today is not his last day in a major league uniform. Here's Kendall, and he takes the pitch for a strike. 2 for 9 in his very first playoff series. And it's Kotsay and Milton Bradley. The 0-1 from Radke. Down and away for a ball.
Kendall on base 4 times in game 2, the leadoff hitter for Oakland. You know, you look at his career on base percentage, it's higher than most of the catchers in the Hall of Fame.
Would not chase it. 2-1. Brad Radke, quite a story. The fact he's even on the mound today, pitching with a torn labrum. He's been doing that for the last couple of years, but they've discovered a fracture in that shoulder as well. As recently as late August, he couldn't hit 80 miles an hour. Little blooper off the hands down the right field line, but it fades foul. Talk about Kendall's on-base percentage. Rick Sutcliffe, such a difficult man to strike out in his career, more walks than Ks.
And right along with that, over a 300 career batting average. What a career for Jason Kendall.
And finally into postseason play. And looking to play in the ALCS. Swing and a miss. Well, this time Kendall strikes out. It's the 4th time in the series.
Well, Brad Radke obviously does not have overpowering stuff, but what he does have is movement and great location. He's always around the strike zone. He can hit any spot he wants, and again, with movement as a hitter, you have to follow him all the way to the plate.
Here's Kotsay now, 275 hitter during the regular season. So far 2 for 9 in this series. Goes the other way, but fouls it away. Mark Kotsay with the hit of the series, although, you know, he was, I think, very much in Torrey Hunter's corner for Hunter diving and missing that ball the other day as a fellow center fielder. Kotsay said the same thing. He said, I thought the ball knuckled on him, kind of dove away from him while he was making up his mind to dive.
Well, it's not the first time that a play like that has happened to an outfielder. It was just the situation magnified the play. And as an outfielder, Mark Kotsay, it's happened to him too, and he can feel for Torrey Hunter.
It's happened to Torrey Hunter in the playoffs as well as Kotsay jumps away. In fact, it was 4 years ago to the day that Ray Durham had led off a game against Minnesota in the American League Division Series, and Torrey Hunter actually didn't dove, came racing in on it. And it went dipping underneath his glove for an inside the Parker.
Well, and I think it's one thing to misjudge a ball. It's another thing for the ball to move in the air. And I know it's hard for people at home to understand that the ball can move in the air. But I know as a hitter, sometimes I'd hit a ball and the way it would come off my bat, it was almost like a knuckleball moving all over the place.
The 3-1. Fouled away by Kotsay. We go back to game 2.
You know, when you look at it, you think about a left-handed hitter, and when he hits the ball, it's going to tail back towards the center fielder in that situation. Look at Kotsay. He had seen Torrey Hunter make that play 100 times. The ball did not go back towards Torrey. It went the opposite way, and that's when they took the lead and got the win.
Kotsay has been battling a cold. Swings a high fly ball into center field, and there's Hunter ranging over. An easy play this time for Torrey. 2 up and 2 down. We talked about the play in the 2002 Division Series. Again, it was Torrey Hunter who thought he had this one all the way, and a shot to center by Durham.
Well, this is a ball Ray Durham hits, and this is just a line drive, and it's a ball that Torrey Hunter just misjudges. He thinks it's going to carry a bit more. It doesn't. It gets under his glove. And as we saw the play the other day, the difference is that ball the other day, it literally took a turn in the air.
Here's Milton Bradley swinging to the first pitch and looping that one foul out of play. Torrey Hunter has been such a magnificent center fielder, truly one of the greats at that position in the game. 5 consecutive Gold Gloves. It sounds like we're burying a guy for making an error in judgment. Of course, it was the time and place, a 2-2 game. You've just fought back to tie it up. You're already down 1-0. I mean, you've got to be a little more cautious there than Torrey Hunter was. Although, oddly enough, he said, I'd do the same thing. I would make the same effort I would dive again for it.
Well, and I think he believes that if that ball doesn't make that turn, he catches it.
Popped up off the thumbs on the infield. And there's Punto over near the mound. In front of the hill, makes the catch to retire the side. Radke, despite the bad shoulder, makes it a 1-2-3. Torrey Hunter will be up second when we return. Even way out here in Northern California, Justin Morneau has his fans certainly in the running for most valuable player in the American League. He'll lead things off here in Oakland, California in the second inning. We have no score. Rick Sutcliffe, Eric Karros, Dave O'Brien, and Duke Castiglione with you for Game 3 of this division series. Morneau so far 2 out of 7 with a monstrous home run as he looks at a strike. Mr. Consistent all season long with 17 home runs on the road and 17 at home. Tried to hold up, but he went around according to home plate umpire Mike Everett, and it's 0-2.
Well, and that pitch for a hitter is very tough. It's the fork ball or splitter, which Dan Herron, that's his bread and butter pitch. When he gets ahead of hitters and throws that, very difficult to lay off.
0-2 raked into the alley in right center field. That'll drop down. Bradley giving chase. Cuts it off, flips it over to Kotze, but it'll be a walk-in double for Justin Morneau. That one coming with 2 strikes as he gets to Herron. That's already 3 hits for Minnesota.
Well, what we've seen with these young Minnesota hitters, Mauer and Morneau, is their ability to control the bat. And here with 2 strikes, Herron tries to throw another off-speed pitch, another splitter. He leaves it up in the zone. It doesn't get down low enough. Justin Morneau hits a double.
This one leading off, so in back-to-back innings against Herron, Minnesota getting the first man aboard. And here's Torrey Hunter. Looking to bunt, drops it down into the grass. Here's Chavez to sling it over, and down to third moves Morneau. 1 man out. Hey, let's go to Carl Ravitch now in the studio for a Sports Center 30 at 30 update.
Hi, David. Thank you very much. 30 at 30 update. Steven Jackson of the Indiana Pacers fired a gun in the air. Nobody was hit. Nobody was hurt. Nobody yet arrested. He was slugged in the mouth and struck by a car that sent him tumbling into the hood. This outside a strip club in Indianapolis. Also, Cincinnati Bengals receiver Chris Henry hit with a 2-game suspension today. He violated the NFL's conduct and substance abuse policy.
Carl, thank you. Infield in. Here's Rondell White with a runner at third. Little blooper toward left. Here comes Peyton. Long run in. He'll make the catch. Morneau has to retreat as the throw comes into home plate. 2 down. And just moments ago was the first sacrifice bunt all season for Torrey Hunter. But are the Twins going to leave another man in scoring position? We are in Oakland and the Coliseum on an overcast afternoon. It is Game 3 of the division series. Oakland on top 2-0. Dave O'Brien, Rick Sutcliffe, Eric Karros, Duke Castiglione, your commentators today as the A's look to play themselves right by Minnesota in a sweep and into the American League Championship Series. Here comes the designated hitter Jason Tyner now. 312 during the regular season. So far 0 for 3 in the division series. The go-ahead run 90 feet away. And he takes the ball.
Obie, and right here is where you put a lot of pressure on your catcher, Jason Kendall. As you mentioned, EK, the split-fingered fastball, the out pitch. That's the pitch that Danny Herron used to lead the Oakland A's in strikeouts this year. But if you get it down and it gets away from the catcher, in this situation, it's a run.
Tyner tried to hold up and did. He checked his swing on the low pitch. Tyner has never hit a major league home run. Just thinking about making contact in this at bat.
Well, what makes it doubly tough for Jason Kendall, not only does he have to worry about blocking the ball and keeping it in front of him, but Jason Tyner has a tendency to bunt the ball and can bunt the ball in this situation, so he has to be able to get out in front of the plate as well.
Morneau at third. That's outside. 3-0. Not a lot of power, but Tyner, with men in scoring position, has been golden in 47 at bats.
You know, you look at his average at 312, and the number 9 guy over 300 as well.
That's Bartlett on deck. That's over but low for ball 4. So Herron will see the number 9 hitter in Jason Bartlett as we check out K-zone on that last offering by Herron.
Well, they had not faced each other at all. And you could see right there that it was almost like Herron was going to be careful with Tyner. He really didn't have a plan of attack that he was confident with. He is confident, though, against Bartlett. 0 for 6. They've seen each other, much more comfortable with the right-handed hitter in there as he has now.
Bartlett 309, a pair of homers, 32 RBIs during the regular season, the former San Diego Padre. That's a strike. He's also out of the University of Oklahoma, where he was a third baseman, playing shortstop now in the big leagues. Runners at first and third. Herron got out of a first inning bit of trouble with a double play ball. Now 2 out. Nice stop there by Kendall.
There's that pressure and there's that confidence you have to have in your catcher to make that pitch. No question about it. You get ahead in the count. Herron's got to go to that. That's the best pitch that he had. But I think right now is another spot where Ron Gardenhire needs to be aggressive. We saw Tyner with the stolen base in game 2. He may need to send him again right now. Put more pressure on them defensively. Maybe they will crack.
The 1-1 runner holds and it catches the inside corner. That one's sneaking onto the hands at 84 miles an hour.
Again, Herron going with pitch that he's most comfortable with, and you can see the movement on that split finger. It just dives over the inner half of the plate. And as you said, Sut, the Twins have to make something happen, because if they sit around and wait for it to happen, they're going to wonder what happened.
The 1-2 fouled away out of play right side. Came back with a fastball there at 95. Herron has faced the Twins twice this year, 1-1, an ERA of 3.15, but in one of those starts, an 8-inning, 3-hit gem. Well, he's already given up 3 hits in this game, and it's the second inning. They lead on the corners, and a 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Kendall has to pick it up and throw, and gets it. Herron gets out of another piece of trouble. There were 2 men on in the first inning, 2 men stranded here in the second.
ESPN's MLB Division Series, presented by Budweiser. Brought to you by Prestone Antifreeze in the yellow jug, Prestone Protection, easy to choose, easy to use, and Puerto Rico, explore beyond the shore.
Oakland, California, and the Oakland A's with a big lead in the series and a 2-0 lead on the day. Some Twins fans making it here to Northern California. Did they make that long trek for naught? Are they here just to see a sweep of the Oakland A's over their beloved Twins? There's still plenty of time for Minnesota to do something about that. Luis Castillo 1 for 1 on the day with a single has started, and 3 for 7 in the series. Again, bluffs a bunt, takes it outside. Castillo with a little bit of trouble making contact. In game 2, he struck out 3 times and all looking. The last thing in the world you want from your leadoff hitter. A called strike here, 92 from Herron.
Well, if there's anything the Twins can be happy about in these first 2 innings, it's the fact that they have had runners in scoring position in each of the first 2. It just hasn't translated to a run.
That's right. They've had 4 men on base. Another called strike. Singles by Castillo and Joe Mauer in the first inning. But Kadire hit into the double play, 5-4-3. Morneau led off the second with a double. But Gardenhire saw that opportunity expire as well. Eventually, Bartlett struck out to end the inning. A ground ball up by first, but foul.
I thought that was showing a lot of poise on the part of Herron when he pitched around Tyner, a guy he hadn't seen before, and a guy that he was familiar with. Bartlett was 0 for 6. He knew how he wanted to go about that at bat, and he got the out. He got out of the inning, and now he's gotten the lead.
The 1-2. That one off the inside of the bat, in on the handle on Castillo.
Danny Herron just loaded with talent. He's got the 2 and 4 seam fastball. He'll throw the cutter from time to time. Can touch 95 with the velocity. got a couple of different breaking balls, and then, of course, that splitter that he gets most of his strikeouts with.
Ground ball, first base. There's Swisher. Plenty of time to get there. Sets down Castillo. One man out. The division series presented by Budweiser continues on ESPN tonight at 8 Eastern. Derek Jeter and the Yankees meeting Pudge Rodriguez and the Tigers in Game 3. Series tied 1-1. Randy Johnson against Kenny Rogers. And Tigers Hall of Famer Al Kaline will throw out the ceremonial first pitch before Game 3. The first postseason game in Detroit in 19 years. Punto 0 for 1 in this one. Hit into a fielder's choice in the first inning. So he is 1 for 9 so far. 93 by Herron there. The count 1 ball 1 strike. Joe Mauer, the batting champion, on deck. Ground ball and knocked down behind the hill by Herron. Does he have time? He throws. Got him. No panic at all there. And Dan Herron, 2 up and 2 down.
This is a nice play by pitcher Dan Herron, and not only knocking the ball down, but then going after it. And as an infielder, which is what Dan Herron becomes after he pitches the ball, when you boot a ball or the ball gets away, the last thing you want to do is try to make something happen or go faster. You've got to really stay under control, stay poised. He does that, picks it up barehanded, makes the nice throw to first base.
1 walk, 1 strikeout. Did give up a hit to this man, the number 3 hitter, Joe Mauer, single in the first inning. Fires high for ball 1.
They had their shot in the first 2 innings to make something happen. They had a leadoff guy in both innings. This kid right now looks to be settling in, knocking Mauer off the plate there with that fastball in.
Grounded foul past first base.
Well, how about your approach to pitching, Sut? When you're ahead, or as opposed to when it's a tie ball game? I mean, does it change?
No, it absolutely does. What you do is you continue to throw the same pitches, but if you miss now, if you're Danny Herron with a 2-run lead, you want to miss in the strike zone. You do not want to walk anybody.
He jumps away and the count 2-1. On deck, Kadire if the inning gets to him.
You see some guys from time to time with a big lead, and all of a sudden they don't know how to pitch in that situation, because all of a sudden they just start throwing all fastballs. You can't do that. You have to have the same pitch selection. You just have to be smarter with your location.
Ground ball toward the outfield. Jimenez with good range there to get him. Best inning of the day so far for Herron. He gets a 1-2-3 when we come back. We'll be chatting with the Twins skipper, Ron Gardenhire, live. Join us for that here in Oakland. The A's lead the series 2-0, lead the ball game 2-0. Joined by Ron Gardenhire, the skipper of the Minnesota Twins. And Ron, all season long, you guys are one of the best clubs in the majors with men in scoring position. Is this becoming real frustrating for you?
Well, we hit the balls hard. Cuddy hit a pretty ball, hit the ball hard to third. But yeah, we need to get some of these guys in. We're getting them out there. We put a hit and run on with Mauer. That turned out pretty good. And then we hit into a double play, and then we have first and third and strike out. So yeah, we'd like to get some of these guys in. That's what it's going to take. And right now we're having a little bit of a tough time, but a lot of ball game left.
Brad Radke, 2 innings under his belt. What are you seeing so far?
He's throwing the ball good. The ball's coming out good. He got a changeup up to Chavez, and then Scooter. I think he got a fastball that got up and out and over, and he hit it. So, but he's throwing the ball good. It's coming out of his hand pretty good.
Ron, very kind of you. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, guys.
Ron Gardenhire, manager of the Minnesota Twins. You look at Radke in the first inning. 14 pitches, really labored in the second inning. But Gardenhire still likes the way it's coming out of that hand. And here's Jason Kendall to lead things off in the home half of the third inning for the A's. Struck out the first. And just to recap what Radke is doing, it's almost a certainty that he will retire whenever the playoff run ends for the Minnesota Twins. So there's still a chance he might come back, but probably not. But here's a guy pitching with a torn labrum. It's been the case for a couple of years, but also a fracture in that socket.
I can't imagine that. There's been a lot, myself included, that have pitched with that labrum problem, not the fracture.
Liner on one hop. Bartlett bobbles from the outfield grass, throws, dugouts, and got him. Morneau with a nice scoop there at first base. And Bartlett had a little bit of trouble with it at short.
EK, you can relate to that, boy. When you're a middle infielder and you get an in-between hop or you're off balance, you got to make that hurried throw. To have that confidence in that first baseman that he can come up with that, you just think low and let it go.
Well, and that's something that a good first baseman can make the infielders around him better by helping him, especially when you can pick throws like Justin Morneau.
Kotze now, he's 0 for 1 with a fly to center, which was a pretty routine play for Torrey Hunter. Torrey Hunter was greeted during the pregame warm-ups when the lineups came out on each base path, was greeted by the Oakland A's fans. And they greeted him with a sarcastic, long, and throaty ovation. Very, very similar to, Rick, you and I were there in 2005, the first Red Sox home game after they'd won the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
They had the Yankees in town for the home opener. Ground ball deep short and underneath Bartlett. Boy, he is having some problems. It rolls into left field and Kotze is on. And Bartlett upset with himself.
I think that's a play that Bartlett was looking to get ready to set his feet and throw to first before he had the ball. He knows Kotze is a pretty good runner. He's from the left side, just unable to get that glove down on the ground, probably thinking about getting it over to first, but you have to catch it before you can throw it.
Playing tight. Well, we talked about it earlier, and we're seeing a lot of it with the Minnesota Twins.
E6. Milton Bradley checks his swing, and it's across for a strike. Bradley 0 for 9 in this series. He had that coffee spilling incident, an exchange of words with hitting coach Gerald Perry in the dugout in the Metrodome. Everybody's downplayed that big time on the Oakland side. Inside for a ball.
I talked to Loaiza too before the game. I said, I gained a lot of respect for you. I'm not sure I could have handled it like you did. He said, when I looked up and saw who it was, I just made up my mind that I was going to go change my uniform and get on with what I had to do.
Bradley popped up his first time. And it's pretty commonplace that Milton Bradley and Gerald Perry, they just have one of those relationships.
Every day.
Where they get into it.
Every day they yell at each other during early batting practice and during the game. It truly is. If you didn't know better and you walked up for the first time, you would think they were going to fight.
It looked like it. Swinging a deep left center field. Hunter driven back to the track, to the wall. That is gone. Milton Bradley, all business today, and it is 4-0 Oakland.
Well, and that's why general manager Billy Beane went out and acquired Milton Bradley. This pitch again out over the plate where Milton Bradley can extend those arms. Milton Bradley, there's never been any question about his tools. He can do it all. Hit for average, power, run, throw. The problem is he's never been able to do it on a consistent basis. He does it periodically, and there you see, he's excited.
And a big hug from guess who? Gerald Perry in there for a strike on Frank Thomas.
Well, to me, that was what was so important about game 2 and that victory they had. Gerald Perry did what he had to do, what a coach had to do. And then Mark Kotze jokingly tied it all together for the victory.
Cut on and missed by Thomas. He has flied to left 0 for 1, 4 out of 8 in the series. Well, in 2001 against the Yankees, in 2003 against the Red Sox, the A's led the division series 2 games to none, only to lose the next 3 and lose the series. Swing high, fly ball. This is pretty well hit, but Kadire moves on over into the alley to make the catch. 2 down. Oakland today looking like a team that does not mean to repeat history. He just missed this one.
Well, that's right where Bradkey wanted the location of that fastball, though, up and away, hoping that he couldn't get up there and get on top of it and drive it into that gap.
Now Perkins, a left-hander, starting to loosen up in the Minnesota bullpen. And far, far too early if you're Ron Gardenhire to get that pen active. But Radke has given up 2 home runs. Of course, Bartlett's error didn't help any in this inning. Each of the home runs, no doubters by Chavez and by Milton Bradley. Outside for a ball. Chavez playing with an injured forearm to tendonitis, also hamstring problems, but battling his way through it.
You know, potential can be a dangerous word, and they talked about the potential of Milton Bradley for years. He's never hit 20 homers. He's never had 70 RBIs, and he's never scored 73 runs during the course of the year. But he's only 28 years of age, and that potential and ability is still there.
Inside for a ball. He's getting many chances with different ball clubs. Maybe this will be the stop that really works out for Milton. Maybe he has found a home here. Maybe it's his kind of clubhouse, his kind of dugout. The 3-0 rattle foul.
Well, that's one thing about this Oakland A's clubhouse, and it goes from the players to the clubhouse staff to Steve Vucinich, the head of the clubhouse. They all get along, and they can deal with any and everybody. And there's a man right there.
You
haven't
Swish. Given out Swish's cell phone number yet. He asked you to do that.
Yeah, Mock came by and said give out his email too.
Down low for ball 4. So Chavez is on. This was a close pitch, but Radke didn't get it. Not much is going right for him.
Now again, Brad Radke has to have those pitches that are just off the plate or just below the knees in order to be successful, and he just did not get those today.
4-0 Oakland. And the division series presented by Budweiser continues tomorrow with 4 games on ESPN2, FX and Fox, first at noon on ESPN2. Baseball tonight, followed by Game 3 of the Padres-Cardinals series. Then at 4 Eastern on FX, the Twins visit the A's in Game 4 if necessary. Also at 4 Eastern on Fox, Game 4 of the Yankees-Tigers series. Finally at 7:30 Eastern on Fox, Game 3 of the Dodgers-Mets series. That's Traxel against Maddox. Tom Glavine with one of those throwback outings for the Mets. A terrific performance by the left-hander who is headed to the Hall of Fame. Mets really needed that one. Here's Radke now. Veteran right-hander. 2 2/3. He is scuffling. Here's Jay Payton, who singled off him first time up, and that's through for a strike. Ten home runs during the regular season. And a former Met lifts this one along the right field line into foul territory. Kadire and Morneau, but boy, there's just so much foul territory. And Eric Karros, you played first base here.
Very expansive, arguably the most foul territory in all of baseball, and this in Dodger Stadium prior to some of its renovations. Just a haven for pitchers.
I really do. I agree. I think it's a great place to pitch, particularly with the night games where the ball does not carry. You've got the heavy air, you've got all the foul territory, and you've got fair dimensions here. Tough to score runs.
Fair. What's fair about hitting in a place like this?
Chavez at first. That's fouled away. To good rip by Payton.
We're still bitter about being released, huh?
It was just a quicker way to get to be up here with you guys.
And we're better for it. Radke's best season in the big leagues was 1997, when he went 20-10 for the Twins.
Yeah, went to the All-Star game the following year. 148 career victories and an ERA at 4.2 in the American League. That's getting it done.
0-2 is up high, and yet today just might be the end of the road for Brad Radke.
Just take a look at this list here. Most wins in the franchise history. Walter Johnson, of course, we know that story. 2 of our favorites, Jim Cott, Bert Blyleven, and Brad Radke.
Well, the bullpen warmed up. Perkins has been throwing for some time down in the corner. Broken bat, popped up. Room here for Morneau, and he will make the catch, and that retires the side. But Milton Bradley steps up. A little bit of controversy in Game 2. Here in Game 3, he goes yard to dead center field. A 2-run homer. It's 4-0 Oakland. 4-0. Michael Kadire leading things off here in the 4th inning against Dan Herron. The Twins in the series have not scored a run in innings 1 through 5 in any game. And they have now been outscored 8-0 in those innings. So if the Twins could just figure out a way to start every game in the 6th, it'd be a whole new series. But down 4-0. Good bats up in the inning, though, and Kadire, Morneau, and Hunter. Routine chopper. Scudero handles those in his sleep. 1 up and 1 down. Hey, in between innings, talk about the A's having fun. Go back to that little coffee incident. Loaiza and Bradley. Look at this after Milton Bradley with a big fly.
Justin Morneau.
Is Loaiza there?
That's great.
I think that was just for
that
us.
Is great. You know, and the only reason that's possible is because of the way Loaiza handled that. And you know what? Giving Milton Bradley some credit for that, or not blaming him, he didn't know it happened. He truly did not know it happened. Third base coach Ron Washington said when they came up and told him what he had done, he did not believe him. He didn't know the coffee fell.
Off the end of the bat of Morneau toward left center on a run. Payton, he will get to it. Just not enough carry. 2 up and 2 down as we check out our game track presented by Intel. How we got to this point. Eric Chavez, who has been slumping in the playoffs, slumping no longer. A big home run. Marco Scudero still contributing with the bat as well, an RBI double in the 2nd inning. Milton Bradley with a bomb to center field. That 2-run shot. Hugs and kisses all around, and it's 4-0 Oakland in the last half. In the 4th inning as Minnesota bats in the top half of the 4th and bringing up Torrey Hunter, of course, in the middle of that controversial play in center field. In game number 2, we talked about the A's fans with some derisive applause for him. He tags this one, though. Deep to left, kiss that one goodbye. Absolutely no doubt by Torrey Hunter. That can shake off a bad moment. Listen to the fans here.
Well, that's really been the big knock and the problem for Herron all year long. We mentioned the 14 wins. Well, the 13 losses came about because of the 31 home runs that he allowed. And with velocity like he's got and the off-speed pitches he has, hard to believe that 17 home runs were hit off of him by right-handed hitters.
And this one comes back. Courtesy of the A's fans in that left field corner. But Torrey Hunter gets Minnesota on the scoreboard here with his 3rd career postseason homer. And that'll send up Rondell White.
Well, we've seen the Minnesota Twins hit home runs, but they've all been solo home runs. They haven't been able to get, again, those hits with runners in scoring position, with men on base. And they started off coming into this game 0 for 14. They're 0 for 3 again with runners in scoring position. I mean, Torrey Hunter crushes the ball, but guys, we need some hits with men on.
Rondell White 0 for 1. He is fly to left. Pokes that one to deep short. Diving play. Scudero. He's up and throwing, but not going to get Rondell White. Offline anyway. And it's a base hit for Rondell with 2 out in the 4th.
Well, you see Marco Scudero, a nice effort to get to the ball, but does not have the arm strength to throw out Rondell White. Rondell, still after all these years and many injuries, gets down there pretty well, but Scudero again showing why he is so key to this ball club.
Yeah, even on a base hit, he gets to it. Jason Tyner now. He drew a walk in the 2nd inning. Minnesota trying to build something here with 2 men out. Fouled away by Tyner. Let's go back to the cut by Torrey Hunter moments ago as he crushed this one.
Well, Torrey Hunter gets a pitch on the inner half of the plate, and it's a fastball without a lot of movement. Torrey Hunter is as good a fastball hitter as there is, and he gets the A's 1 run closer. Excuse me, the Twins.
So the Twins down 3. Down low, and Kendall scoops it.
You know, the last few years, to me, a big part of the Twins' success has been the character and charisma of Torrey Hunter. And it's hard to do that when you had a defensive problem in game 2, and, you know, you really haven't gotten anything going offensively. That could help right there. You know what? You got that run. You go out and put up a 0, get back to the top of the order, maybe get back into the game.
White at first. It's across for a strike on Tyner. And maybe for Ron Gardenhire, the big fly by Hunter, the start of a big comeback. You can see the anxiety, down 2-0 and trailing by 3 here in game 3.
They need a spark.
The 1-2. Little blooper, center field. Kotze will make the catch. So that's all they get. But Hunter with a noisy run as he rips a solo home run. And Minnesota at least is on the scoreboard. Welcome back to ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series presented by Budweiser. This afternoon from Oakland, California, the A's are playing for a 3-game sweep. The Twins showing a little bit of life. They've actually out-hit the A's 5-4. Big home run moments ago by Torrey Hunter. On to the home half of the 4th inning. It'll be Nick Swisher, then Scudero, then Jimenez. Outside for a ball on Swisher. He struck out despite a long time at home plate battling Brad Radke, who's still out there despite giving up the 4 runs and a couple of home runs. And of course, has to be pitching in a lot of pain with a torn labrum and a fractured socket.
Well, he's talked about, I'm just going to throw until it blows, until it falls off. And I mean, what a performance here, no matter how it goes.
Swing, deep drive right field. Did he get enough though? Kadire into the corner will make the catch in fair ground. Swisher gone. He is 0 for 2. So Radke gets the first man here in the 4th.
Pitching coach Rick Anderson telling us a story before the game about in the 7th inning, Ron Gardenhire looked at him and said, should I go get him? He said, you know what, go check with him. There were 2 outs. He went out there. Radke said, no, leave me in. I'm fine. He said, you're hanging. You're hurting. He said, that's right, but I can get this out. Well, Nick Punto was on the mound. As Gardenhire went back in, he got the pop-up on a couple of pitches. Punto come running in screaming, saying, this guy's my hero. This guy is leaving it on the line. Let's do something for him. That's the position the Twins are in right now. You need an easy 1-2-3 inning. You need to get back on offense, and somebody needs to step up.
Scudero with an RBI double, his first time up. Healthy rip there, fouls it away. We talked about it back in August. Radke could barely hit 80 miles an hour on the radar gun. Shut down for a while, but came back to pitch 5 good innings against the White Sox at the end of September. That one rolled out to the second baseman Castillo for the second out in the inning. Base is empty. Well, last 4 postseason series, the A's 0-9. When playing to eliminate their opponent. That's the longest such streak in the history of Major League Baseball.
Well, and you have to remember there are only 2 holdovers from those ball clubs, and that's third baseman Eric Chavez and pitcher Barry Zito. So although these A's are aware of the history, they weren't part of it, and they continue to say that. Past is the past.
You know, to me right now, the MVP of this series, for me, is Barry Zito. And you're going to say, yeah, you're a pitcher, blah, blah. You know what? Santana pitched well enough to win.
Sure.
Zito pitched better.
In game 1, when everybody in the world thought, well, game 1's going to go to Minnesota.
Oh.
Santana's home in the Metrodome. He never loses there. Forget it, yeah. Barry Zito, 8 innings, tremendous 4 hits. And Oakland took control of the series. Jimenez 0 for 1. Swings at a high one and right through it. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And we were told before the game he definitely would not come back for game 4, and I think that's absolutely the right move. Liriano's hurt. Radke's gone. You can't take a chance on his arm.
That one missing inside. Of course, Santana's not a big fella anyway. He's smallish, more along the lines of a Pedro Martinez. Brilliant numbers. I mean, a 5-hitter over 8 innings. All the strikeouts. Inside again for a ball.
And you say, you know, well, it's important. We need to win game 4. We do that, we go back home. You know what? To me, it's more important after losing Liriano that we look at now to not take a chance on hurting Santana. He's dominated baseball the last 2 years. He could do it easily the next 5 years. You can't take that chance if you're Ron Gardenhire.
Gardenhire also said Santana was very sore after that contest. Popped up. Near home plate, the pitcher Radke there to bobble the ball. He dropped it. The first baseman Morneau is coming toward him. It might have been a big part of the problem. Radke drops it.
I think you're exactly right. I mean, obviously you want to have the athletes or the infielders catch a ball, but Brad Radke calls for it. And when he calls for it, Justin Morneau has just got to get away. You don't even want the pitcher thinking or hearing you as an infielder coming towards him, because then he gets tentative. He doesn't know that you're going to pull up or move or veer off. So Brad Radke may have heard footsteps. Justin Morneau has to get away from the pitcher.
A darn fine defensive team all season long, but here in this division series, the Twins, their defense, not good. 2 errors in this one. And here's Kendall, 0 for 2. He looks at a strike, and so Radke is going to have to throw more pitches. Responsible himself on that effort.
Well, and just adding EK more doubt to what's going on with their confidence right now for Minnesota.
Base hit, knocked into left field. Kendall is on. Jimenez into second. Pitch count such a huge issue with a guy like Radke. Just how many more quality pitches he can throw really hurts himself.
Well, and we talk about pitch count. I mean, the problem has been when the Twins make an error, Oakland capitalizes on it. They take advantage of the error. Whether it's Bartlett booting a ball, then Scudero getting the base hit, or here in this situation, now you've got runners on first and second. And you can see 72 pitches already for Radke. Again, we can harp on the pitch count, but again, the A's take advantage of their opportunities.
Rincon joining Perkins in the bullpen. Kotze going right after it, fouls it away.
You know, Eric, you're exactly right. And it wasn't even an error, but it was the lack of turning a double play in game 2 in the 7th inning. Kendall hit the ground ball to short. They didn't get it turned. And what happened? Kotze was the next hitter. That was the inside the park home run. Ron Gardner, the manager, saying before the game, he went, oh no, when they didn't turn it.
Kotze just 2 for 17 in his career against Radke. Cuts and misses. 87.
And he flinched right after he threw that. He knows how important this is. This is a must out right here. Radke, not that he hasn't left it all on the line, getting to this point, is reaching back for whatever is left in that shoulder.
And Milton Bradley with a deep home run to center field his last time up, waits on deck. The 0-2. Let's get a look at that pitching motion you were talking about, Rick. He's laboring.
I can't even imagine the pain that he's in right now. Look at it. He's not able to finish anything. He's kind of cutting it off. And there he just kind of runs towards home just to try to get some of that pain out of there so that he can get a feel to make this next pitch.
A little foul out of play by Kotze.
Well, and as a hitter, too, and not to say that you love seeing that, but you love seeing that, because when you see a pitcher out there, you know he's in trouble, you know he's laboring, you know that's when you want to just pounce. And that's what this A's ball club has done.
Just look for a mistake, because he's going to make one in every at bat. I mean, there's nothing he can do. There's so much pain there, you can't command everything. You just hope that the pitches they swing at are the pitches you locate.
Swing high, pop up down the left field line, cruising toward the stands. Long run there by White. Dove after it but couldn't get it. Right into the Oakland bullpen. And what we're seeing in Radke, despite the results to this point, is a man showing tremendous fortitude here.
But Rondell White running hard and making a great effort, as we talked about. A lot of foul territory, and really you can't give up on any baseball. And right near the Oakland A's bullpen, and obviously them not giving Rondell White a lot of help.
34-year-old, born in Wisconsin, has runners on at first and second, 2 out.
I think either way, this will be the last batter faced in the career of Brad Radke.
The 1-2 again. Fly ball well hit to right. Kadire on the run, reaches up and makes the catch. Maybe the last pitch that Brad Radke ever throws in a major league game. The man who has him on a run today is Ken Maka. The Oakland skipper joins us from the dugout in a moment. Back in Oakland, the A's on top 4-1, closing in on clinching the American League Division Series, joined by Ken Maka, the A's skipper. And Ken, we're having more fun just watching your dugout and the interplay with you guys. You've got to be the loosest team in the big leagues, aren't you?
Well, you know, I come up in the Pirate organization, and Willie Stargell had a big influence on everybody, and one of his mottos was work hard and have fun. So the guys go out there and they grind it out, and you know, clubhouse, bench, we had a little good time here.
Ken, Danny Herron's throwing well, but you talked about before the game something you learned from manager Lou Piniella about not worrying about tomorrow. Do you start thinking about your bullpen now?
No, well, not right now. You know, Dan has pitched a very good game the last time against the Twins. He's made one mistake, and actually the first 2 innings were key. He had good enough stuff to pitch out of a couple jams, so he's throwing the ball well, and you know, we'll see how it goes.
Do you still get surprised at Marco Scutaro getting big base hits?
Oh, another big one today, another big one. So how about a couple more today?
Ken, thanks so much.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good day.
Good luck the rest of the way. It's been a good day so far for Marco Scutaro and for Ken Maka. And Dan Herron to boot. The one mistake, Torrey Hunter's home run in the 4th inning. But he has scattered 5 hits, 57 pitches, as we move on to the top half of the 5th.
He's made the pitches that he has had to make in the moments where he needed to make them, and that's the reason he's got the lead now and really seems to have settled in.
Bartlett 0 for 1. Herron struck him out in the 2nd inning. He shows bunt, but takes a strike on the inside corner. Bartlett, a former San Diego Padre. The Twins had a lot of trouble with their shortstops just making good contact through most of the summer. First 63 games, they hit just .237. Down the right field line, Bradley giving chase. Some room here, makes the catch. Tiptoeing toward that bullpen. 1 man out. Talking about Brad Radke and that warrior thing he's got going today. Getting a lot of handshakes as he went down the dugout steps.
Luis Castillo.
I think you're seeing the traces of a tear in his eyes. His career is over. Kotze's fly ball, apparently the last pitch. Brad Radke will throw in the majors. Here's Castillo. He takes it inside.
Well, and that just shows you the respect that his teammates have for him, Brad Radke, and that they're in an elimination game, yet in the middle of the ball game, they're going over to acknowledge Brad Radke and what he has done, not only today, but for his entire career for this Twins organization.
Well, before the game, some of the guys on the Twins calling him William Wallace, the Braveheart, and what he was doing. I mean, what it took for him to go out there and how much it meant to them.
Castillo 1 for 2 with a single. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think we're seeing a star on the rise here right now. We look at Radke, but really the story up to this point is the man on the mound, Danny Herron. He is getting ready to come into his own.
And for more on Radke's story, it's a big one today. Let's go to Duke Castiglione. Duke.
Well, fellas, we asked Ron Gardenhire before the game if this is indeed Brad Radke's last game, how will it be for him? He said, you know, it's going to be very emotional, but we can't think about that today. This is a big, big game for us, but it would be a shame for him to end his career in a loss today.
The 2-2. Little bouncer foul. Both of you played in the big leagues for a long time. Both of you eventually retired, but did you have a kind of moment that Radke's having right now where he knows it's over? He just threw his last pitch in a major league uniform. You're a hitter, you're a pitcher, but you both had that moment at some point where you knew it was over.
You know what, though? Right now, all of his focus is on trying to win this ball game. I mean, he will have time to reflect on that, and he will get to that.
Little roller. Herron can't get to it. Swisher does. Reaches and got him. Tagged him out. Swisher with another fine defensive play. The A's are making them all. And that is out number 2.
Well, and you have to remember that Nick Swisher has played the outfield, and working with Ron Washington, he's made the transition to first base. And You see he grabs the ball, and a lot of first basemen may look to the pitcher for the flip, but anytime you can make the play yourself and eliminate that throw as a first baseman, you want to do that. Nick Swisher, a very nice play.
Swisher has started over 70 games in the outfield this year, along with the 70 at first base. So, wow.
A shot there of Ron Washington, who gets so much deserved credit, fouled away by Punto for the work he has done to make the A's such a good defensive club. Of course, Eric Chavez over the years has raved about him, and so does Swisher. Washington, by the way, guys, is going to get a lot of consideration for the open managerial jobs. Texas might be a great fit for him. This one down low on Punto.
We've talked about it many times, OB, you and I, on Monday Night Baseball. Ron Washington's family and is from New Orleans. Talking to him before the game, they're still not even close to getting back into their house. His wife lives in an apartment down there just outside of New Orleans. No power, no electricity, no water. And he's just hoping at some point to build his house back. He said, I may have to sell it. You never know. But he said, I just want to build it back up the way it was, maybe a little bit nicer, just to add some closure to that. So a lot on this man's mind.
Base is empty. 2 men out. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Punto. Dan Herron's pitch. Inside just a tad at 95. Aaron's one of those guys who can bring it into the middle 90s, but he's so smooth with his delivery, it doesn't look like he's throwing it hard.
But if he would have thrown that pitch for a strike, this inning would be over with. Jason Kendall had Punto set up.
Downstairs to run it full. More activity in the Minnesota bullpen. Perkins ready to come on in relief of Radke, who is done. Aaron's 3-2 pitch. Line drive, and that one eats up Jimenez into right field, and Punto is on with a single. So Herron can't put away the number 2 hitter, and now he has to face Joe Mauer.
I guarantee there's some people in that open dugout thinking right now, what if Mark Ellis would not have been hurt? Could he have come up with this? I don't know. Maybe so, maybe no.
Well, I think what makes Mark Ellis so important, it's not would he have come up with it, but would he have been positioned ready to make that play? And that's where the experience of Mark Ellis is going to be missed throughout the rest of these playoffs for the Oakland A's.
So a 2-out single for Nick Punto brings up Mauer, who's gone 1 for 2. Knocked down by Kendall. Throw to first. That's into the outfield. Otherwise, he had him picked off. It's down the line. Bradley has to go to pick it up. And Punto scoots into second. Oakland's been brilliant defensively in the series, but not here.
Well, a great job on the part of Kendall to keep the ball in front of him. Then all of a sudden he didn't have the best grip on it. He had to make the quick throw. When he let it go, it got up and away from Swisher. Swisher was trying to keep him from throwing, say, hey, no, we got nothing here. All of a sudden Kendall trying to get that last out, couldn't get the throw down, and a break, an opportunity for a base hit and a 2-out RBI.
And one of the things as a first baseman you want to do in that situation, if you don't want the throw, get away from the bag. Don't even allow your catcher to come up and try and attempt to make that throw.
And Punto really got away with that. He's into second into scoring position for Mauer, who during the regular season hit .360 with men in scoring position. Although the thought of a big hit with a man in scoring territory, that's been a rumor for Minnesota in this series.
He had .331 with runners in scoring position a year ago. He loves situations like this.
Good eye there, and a pitch that misses low.
Well, we saw Joe Mauer come up with runners on first and second in game 2 and hit a scorcher down to third. And it doesn't matter how hard you hit it. If you've got those defensive players out there making plays, you're going to be in trouble. And again, they just struggle with runners in scoring position.
Boy, I'll say 0 for 17. And a darn good team in these spots all season long. And another missed opportunity. Jimenez gets to this one and throws him out. No runs to hit, 1 man left. The bullpen coming on from Minnesota. Brad Radke did all he could do, but down 3 in the 5th. Let's check out today's starters and a pitching summary brought to you by Yellow Book. Radke is done 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs out of the 4 that he allowed. Herron has thrown a total of 75 pitches. He has been very effective. Milton Bradley leading off the bottom of the 5th inning against a new pitcher, Glenn Perkins, but being consoled over there, Brad Radke. And that one bunted up the third base line. It's going to roll and will be a foul ball. Bradley very nearly had himself a beautiful bunt single, but Punto made the right decision.
And again, some of the characteristics that make Milton Bradley so attractive to different ball clubs. He just hit a booming home run in his last at bat, and a lot of guys would be feeling everything, want to hit the home run. Here he comes up and tries to sneak a bunt to get something going.
Boy, what a year for this guy. Most of the season in Double-A, had a cup of coffee in Triple-A, and now he's in the postseason.
Bradley swinging away, lines that one into the corner foul. Look at his home run earlier, no doubt about this one, to dead center.
Well, this pitch out over the plate, and he gets extension, and when he gets extension, he can hit the ball as far as anybody. And there he goes, a nice hug from hitting coach Gerald Perry.
Swings mightily, but pops it up into left. White was playing very deep. Hunter over to help too, and Torrey Hunter makes the catch. And still some grins from the Twins, despite being down 2-0 and trailing 4-1 today.
Well, as a hitter, you know when you miss a pitch, and it is so darn frustrating because it's not that many times that you'll get the opportunity where a pitcher makes a mistake. And Milton, you saw there, he knew he should have crushed it. Just missed it.
That, to me, what makes it so difficult to be a switch hitter. You know, he just got locked in from the left side. Now he had to go from the right.
Here's Frank Thomas. A quiet day, 0 for 2.
And I think that's a good job of managing. I mean, you turn him to the right side. You got Chavez coming up from the left side after this, but a free shot here for Big Frank.
Frank Thomas with 39 home runs during the regular season and 114 runs batted in. Staying healthy. His last 2 years in Chicago, which were really sour, bitter years for Frank. That ankle just kept him out of the lineup time and time again.
That's really the truth, though, B. I mean, as general manager Billy Beane said, you know, I watched the first 2 months. He was getting the rust off. You take a look at the numbers this year compared to the previous 2. And then also to go along with that, the presence that he's had in this clubhouse.
Well, the clubhouse and the lineup, Ken Mock is saying we haven't had that 40 home run guy since Giambi.
Rakes that one foul.
That impact. Exactly right.
Ken Maka. He said, I'm just thinking about today. Told us that a few moments ago. Told us that in his office earlier today. A big hurt making a big difference in Maka's clubhouse. But most importantly, inside that batter's box, because the designated hitter slot was basically non-existent.
11 home runs all last year. Big Frank hit his 12th on the first day of June.
Line drive right field. That's going to sink down for a base hit. Thomas 1 for 3 singles here in the 5th. Let's go to the studio, and our man is Carl Ravitch. Ravi?
Hi, David. You guys were just talking about Jason Giambi. He looks ready to go as the Yankees and Tigers some 2 hours, 11 minutes away. But you can ask Rick and Eric. This is about the time you get there for a postseason game.
Oh, let's do that. I mean, when did you guys like to show up for the playoffs?
Couldn't get there quick enough.
Yeah, it's just an exciting time. The adrenaline going, and just couldn't wait to start the game.
Chavez has homered and walked. Had a very good day as he takes high for ball 1. So the A's inching closer and closer to clinching this series. It's a position that has bedeviled them in recent years. Line shot deep to left. White racing back on the track, turning around. That's going to be off the wall. Thomas into third. He will stop there. And it's a double for Eric Chavez, who continues to swing a good bat today. A home run and a double.
Would have easily been an RBI with anybody else on the base paths other than Frank Thomas. Ron Washington, though, their third base coach, knows that. Knew he had no chance to send the big hurt. You send him there, you might have gotten him hurt. The ball comes off the wall hard. Inconsistent bounces off this wall, EK. Sometimes Ron Washington says it just sticks. Sometimes it comes off.
That's going to do it for Perkins out there to face 3 hitters. A pitching change for the Twins, and we're back in a moment. Payton in the box with runners at second and third. 1 out, 4-1 Oakland. Already up 2-0 in the series. High chopper. Runner trying to come home. Bartlett firing to the plate. Frank Thomas will be out by 10 feet. In fact, he never even reached the plate. Cut down at the dish. Out number 2. Runners at first and second.
No, obviously that was an on-contact play, and on-contact means the runner at third is going. What was interesting, though, is Eric Chavez at second base does not move at all, and he's got to run as well. Maybe draw the throw to third, get the big hurt in, but you can't just have one guy going on contact and not the other.
Well, a big out for Rincon in Minnesota. See his numbers during the regular season. He was tremendous. 75 appearances. He's been sharp so far in this division series. Here's Nick Swisher.
Boy, OB, I agree with you. This was a huge inning and a big out that he got right there. Oakland with an opportunity to blow this game open with a base hit. Did not get it. Rincon got the out Minnesota needed.
Base hit there brings in 2 and makes it 6-1. Swing high fly ball left center field. Hunter cruising over, makes the catch shy of the warning track, and Rincon does a big time job of relieving there. 2 men left. 4-1 Oakland. 35,694 in Oakland, and their A's have a 4-1 lead on the Twins. Top half of the 6th inning, but Minnesota still alive and kicking thanks to the effort by Rincon out of the bullpen, with 2 men in scoring position to get the ground ball to the shortstop and the out at the plate as Frank Thomas was cut down. And Dan Herron has been pretty sharp so far, however, scattering 6 hits.
And right now Oakland's just trying to figure out a way to get 12 outs before they get 3 runs. And so Ken Maka has got to be thinking about his bullpen if the leadoff runner gets on.
Kadire swings and pops it up. Jimenez drifting out on the back pedal. Bradley coming in, so is Kotze. And the center fielder is always the captain there as he makes the catch. The leadoff man does not get on in the 6th inning for the Twins.
And that's a big leadoff at bat. And again, we've said it throughout the series. Anytime the Twins seem to get any bit of momentum, the A's take it right away. And if you can have momentum when you're down 4-1, the Twins just had it by getting out of that inning with runners on second and third, not allowing Oakland to score, but they don't get the leadoff guy on. They are unable to sustain any type of momentum.
Morneau with a double. He's also flying out to left. His double in the 2nd inning did lead off the frame, but they could not bring him in. Rips that one foul. He was right with it. Got around pretty good on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
That's the same kind of ball hit by Morneau in game 2 that put a huge bruise and a lot of swelling on the ankle of Houston Street, the closer for Oakland.
Ground ball. That one's going to get through for a base hit. Even though Jimenez was deep into the outfield at his second base spot, so Morneau has his 2nd hit. He's 2 for 3.
Well, you start wondering right now as we look at the base hit here. I mean, this is some kind of young hitter. I remember last year, and I mean, Morneau did not have a great year. He hit some home runs, he did some things, but his average overall on the year was under 240. The guy talking about him, Don Mattingly, last year saying, just wait, this kid's going to be something.
He was something, hitting .321, 34 homers, 130 RBIs, and here's Torrey Hunter. Swings. That one hit well. Center field. Kotze will not get it. It's over his head. Up against the fence. Morneau heading into third base. He will stop there. It's a double for Hunter. Torrey Hunter coming to life here. A home run and now a 2-base hit. And suddenly Herron is in some trouble here in the 6th.
Really surprised there was not activity to start this inning along with Herron for Oakland. The reason being, Torrey Hunter homered in his last at bat. If Kadire could have gotten on, Morneau getting on, the next thing you know, Torrey Hunter would have represented the tying run.
So now Maka will get on the phone as Young heads out to the hill. And they will get some activity in that bullpen.
That's what happens with the young pitcher right there, too. He thought he was going to get a couple more runs to work with, and all of a sudden he did not. And now he finds himself facing the tying run at home plate.
But you know what's going on right now is there's no communication between the dugout and the bullpen. The phone's not working. You know, the bullpen coach, Brian Fisher, unable to hear anything that Ken Maka wants done. You see guys running back and forth. So that could play a big role in if and when somebody comes in this inning. I mean, you see right there, hey, come on. That's the best way to fix everything, right? Just hit it hard.
That's what I do at home. Here's Rondell White as he takes a strike. Although your point is well taken, Eric. I mean, it seems there are always gremlins in the machine whenever the A's are trying to clinch.
You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea if you're the visiting team to, before the game starts, go down there and yank that cord out.
Rondell White 1 for 2. Goes the other way with a ground ball. That's a base hit. 1 run in. Here comes Hunter rounding third. The throw to the plate. The tag by Kendall. Kendall got him. Hunter says he didn't. Mike Everett arguing with Hunter. Here comes Gardenhire as well. Mike Everett says he saw a tag. 1 run comes in.
And I think when we look at the replay, Mike Everett was on the other side of Jason Kendall. Instead of being, you know, he was in the right position, but he couldn't see the tag right there. And I don't think Jason Kendall did make the tag. Torrey Hunter got up, tried to say that Jason Kendall missed the tag. But where Mike Everett was, he couldn't see if he tagged him or not.
I can't tell you by that angle. Let's take another look.
Well, one thing I can tell you is to have the throw beat him by that much at home plate, Ron Gardner has to come out to argue just to protect his third base coach.
Boy, if he did tag him, where did he tag him? Here's Tyner. Cuts and misses for a strike.
And with that throw being so far over the cutoff man's head, I'm trying to figure out why Rondell White's still at first base. Bad base running all the way around there for the Minnesota Twins.
No more no score, but that's all they got, at least to this point. 2 away. And bounced up there, knocked down by Kendall.
We've talked about the potential and all the things that Milton Bradley can do on a baseball field. Well, you just saw another one. There's Rondell White right here. There's a base hit. You got to go on to second. You've got to go on. You could see Jerry White, the first base coach, saying go.
Now, Herron has given up 3 consecutive hits. That one raked foul past first.
Well, and just to get back to the position, Mike Everett was in the right position, but I'm just not sure that he could actually see, you know, where or if the tag was applied. Jason Kendall appeared to possibly try to tag Torrey Hunter on the back, but from that vantage point, very tough for Mike Everett to see.
Minnesota finally with a hit with a man in scoring position in the series. Now 1 for 19. Two down, and here comes the 1-2. Check swing, fouled away at the plate. He was still in the box, although it hopped up to hit him. Kiko Calero, the man warming up in Oakland's pen.
Calero also came over in the trade from St. Louis with Herron for Mark Mulder. Houston Street saying before the game that, you know, we've got 5 guys down here that have closed at one point in their career. Calero has been one of those guys.
The Twins trying to keep the 6th inning humming along here. Slicer foul out of play. Just under 36,000, a sellout here in Oakland. They could have sold over 50,000 tickets today.
What a great job Jason Kendall did selling the fact that he had applied the tag. Billy Beane saying before the game yesterday how last year Kendall took that young staff, very little major league experience for Heron, Harden, Blanton, and Saarloos. He took them into the pennant race.
Tyner swings and misses, and down he goes for strike 3. Side retired. Torrey Hunter in the middle of more controversy. He missed Kotze's single and played that into a home run the other day. The question here is, did Kendall ever actually tag him at home plate? Well, Torrey Hunter a little embarrassed and despondent after his missed catch in the Kotze 2-run home on the inside of the Parker game 2. Now he's just angry.
He did nothing wrong there. I mean, he was sent by the third base coach, and in his mind, he was safe. Jason Kendall's the only one that truly knows.
Scudero takes one down low for ball. Home half of the 6th inning. So Minnesota, instead of getting 2 on that play, gets just the 1 and trails 4-2 as the A's try and sweep the Twins. Scudero 1 for 2 with an RBI double. Fouls that one away, and we have looked at many replays from all the available angles. I don't see a tag being applied there. I don't see the give you would expect from the leather from the glove making contact at all.
Well, and I'll tell you why, because Jason Kendall slipped with his right foot as he went to apply the tag.
Just off the outside corner.
Mike Everett, one of the best umpires in baseball. This was his 8th full year at the big league level, the ump behind home plate. 6 straight years now he's been in the postseason as a reward for a job well done.
He looked pretty short too. He was telling Hunter, he got you, he got you. Ground ball to short, and Bartlett fires on the money.
Let's take a look at it again here. Obviously, it was a great throw on the part of Bradley. It beats Torrey Hunter by a lot. But if you take a look at the right foot, the back foot of Jason Kendall, watch right here. It's planted. Now watch as he digs it in again, and he goes to push off. Look at it give out there as he tries to dive into the runner. He doesn't get the full dive that he wanted. He lost his footing, but he still got the call.
It was a great slide, but called out at home plate. And here's Jimenez. He is 0 for 2. They reached on an error by the pitcher on a pop-up on the infield in the 4th inning that was dropped by Brad Radke, who in all likelihood pitched for the last time in his career today. On the corner for a strike. Radke still hanging in there on the Twin bench.
Yeah, no need to go up and change shirts or get ice to get ready for your next start.
No, he wants to leave that jersey on as long as he can, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Check swing by Jimenez. 2-1, and Kendall on deck. The Oakland A's have certainly played sharp baseball. They've played loose. They've pitched so well, and they have been luckier than the Twins. That's a strike.
Well, and again, it's like we talked earlier, the momentum. I mean, again, the Twins getting some momentum, finally get that hit with runner in scoring position. But what do the A's do? They don't allow them to have that momentum for any period of time. They get a guy thrown out at the plate, and boom, advantage A's again.
Ray Cone delivers. That one served to short. Bartlett gets in front of it. 2 down. Back to the studio. Here's Carl Ravitch. Carl.
All right, David, SportsCenter follows the game we're watching now, and then right after SportsCenter, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Jim Leyland, who said his team is no longer the JV. They prove they belong. He's warming them up, hitting some infield. Yanks and Tigers, 80s.
Ravi, thank you. I think he's right about that, too. The fact that there were people out there who said, the Tigers, they'll get swept by the Yankees. I mean, that won't even be a series. Jim Leyland took offense to that. He said, well, I hope we prove some people wrong after beating the Yankees in game 2.
Well, the biggest thing is, if you want to beat the Yankees, you better score some runs. So that lineup will score off of anybody. And Kenny Rogers has had his problems with the Yankees in the past, and the lineups that he's faced have not been as good as the one that he'll face tonight.
Reyes, the lefty, loosening up for Ron Gardenhire. As Kendall looks at a strike. He's 1 for 3 with a base hit.
Well, I think getting back to that Tigers-Yankees series, I think it's very easy for people to wonder what the Tigers were going to do after losing the last 3 games against the Kansas City Royals and enabling this Minnesota Twin team to win the American League Central.
He did that on the last day of the regular season. Fought off by Kendall. And here's a look at the pitching matchup between the Tigers and the Yankees. Pretty darn good one, too. The big unit against Kenny Rogers.
You're always going to get great pitching when you face the Detroit Tigers. They had the best staff in all of baseball this year.
And more guys, and Randy Johnson can smile at this, who throw 100 than anybody. 100 miles an hour up top for a ball. Rincon asking a home plate umpire, Mike Everett, exactly where that missed. 2-2. The Twins don't like much that they've seen from Everett in the last inning, do they? 2 men out. Fouled away out of play right side. Oakland on top 2-0. Hey, Tommy says, watch the postseason on ESPN. It's your duty, Judy. Used to tell Karros and Sutcliffe all the time.
No, he never.
Go get a hit. It's your duty, Judy.
He never called you a Judy.
2-2, lofted toward right, but foul.
Judy's a nickname that's used a lot for guys that don't have any power. That wasn't you, big. That might have been you at UCLA, big boy, when you walked on and made the team. But you turned that around in a hurry, didn't you?
Things worked out for me. Things worked out. And look, here I am at the pinnacle of my profession with Dave O'Brien, Rick Sutcliffe.
Huh? So Tommy never said it's your duty, Judy. Grounded to third, fair ball. Punto collects and gets him. Rincon with a nifty inning gets them 1-2-3. The Twins down 4-2 here in Oakland. Well, the A's looking for one for the thumb. To steal an old phrase, 4-2 as they close in on the American League Division Series victory in a sweep. Justin Duxer coming out of the bullpen where he was just terrific in 53 appearances. Into the 7th inning, and that's across for a strike on Bartlett.
He was perfect in game 2 when he came out of the bullpen, pitching a scoreless 1-2-3 7th and 8th inning.
2 terrific bullpens in the series as that one is wide. Bartlett 0 for 2. He has struck out and flied out to right. And it's the top of the order in Luis Castillo, then Nick Punto.
Well, and these guys are the ones that are important as far as getting on base.
Grounded sharply but snagged by Chavez. He is money. 1 man out as we look at game track and how we got to this point. 4-2 Oakland in the 7th inning. Chavez has had a big day. 2 for 2, a solo homer and a double. That shot in the 2nd inning. Milton Bradley touched them all with a monster home run to center field and then a hug from his hitting coach. It was the play at the plate. Torrey Hunter thought he was not tagged by Kendall. The umpire Mike Everett saw that differently and called him out, much to the dismay of the Gold Glove center fielder. Castillo is 1 for 3, a single. He's also grounded out twice. Dan Herron went the first 6. That's a strike. He scattered 9 hits, gave up a couple of runs, but he's in line for the victory. Torrey Hunter still prowling that dugout unhappily. Check swing, and it's in low. 2-1.
Well, and as demonstrative as he has been, and the fact that it looks like he's just returning to the bench, he was probably up in the clubhouse. I mean, he knows more than anybody whether or not he was tagged. And with the way he's acting, it's obvious he was not tagged.
Call strike. Yeah, that's one of those plays where you know so well you don't even have to go back and look at it. Probably. Here's K-zone.
Well, this guy right here has made a living with pitches inside of that K-zone. He throws as many strikes as anybody.
Well, Duksha really established himself in 2004, and he came in, was used in a lot of long relief roles, but was more and more effective. Then the A's started going to him in more critical situations, and then last year an all-star and really a key component to this bullpen.
Fly ball right field. Bradley on his horse. Reaches up and makes the catch. Castillo flies out, and Milton Bradley acknowledging there he may have misjudged it a little bit, but he hauled it in.
Well, Milton Bradley's so athletic and really a true center fielder. But doesn't get the best jump, but is able to make up for it. Makes a nice catch. And you know, the A's, all three outfielders are all three competent center fielders.
And you know, you look at their bullpen, they've just been spectacular. A 1.58 ERA. Punto trying to bunt, fouls it away at the plate. And Minnesota is running out of outs.
Tell you what, though, they're just a bloop and a blast away from tying this ball game up. But they need somebody on base before somebody hits the home run.
Well, and you're exactly right when we talk about guys getting on base. The so-called piranhas, you know, Nick Punto, Luis Castillo, Jason Tyner, Jason Bartlett.
Routine ground ball. Scudero gobbles it up and gets it. The Twins are down to their last 6 outs in the series. 4-2 Oakland. Late in Oakland, bottom of the 7th, with the A's on top 4-2. They lead the best of 5, 2-0. The man in the middle, Torrey Hunter, usually likes to be in the middle in center field where he is magnificent, but in game 2 didn't like it so much, did he? Misjudging this one. The Kotze line drive goes from inside to Parker, and today in game 3 the play at the plate was the outer safe. Kendall's tag apparently, according to Mike Everett, got enough of Torrey Hunter. He was called out at the dish. Only 1 run scored on that play. Hunter looks to still be stewing over it somewhat. Who's it going to be today when you talk about who the heroes may be? Karros Guillen 2 for 4. The Tigers tied up the series with the Yankees. Albert Pujols 3 for 4 with an RBI. Cardinals lead 2-0. And Tom Glavine terrific in game 2. Who will be in the middle of each of those series as they continue.
Number 21,
And Reyes coming out of the bullpen to make another appearance in this series. During the regular season, he was darn near unhittable, Rick Sutcliffe.
Look at that. 0.89 ERA. Will probably just be in to face the first 2 hitters, and then you go to the right hand.
Kotze trying to put it in play, hitting that hole. Castillo down, spins, throws, and gets it. Nicely done by Luis Castillo. 1 man out here in the 7th for Oakland.
Well, Castillo has always had a lot of range, and what he does nicely here is he gets to the ball, but he makes a nice spin, gathers his feet, and is able to throw a strike to the first baseman. So many times, the second baseman or shortstop, they make the nice play, they try to hurry things, and then they don't finish the play because they make a bad throw.
Very smoothly done by the Gold Glover. Here's Milton Bradley, 1 for 3 with a home run. The A's have won 3-game sweep in the history of their postseason. It was 1981, the so-called division series then, when they swept Kansas City in the second of 2 halves because of the extended players strike. Oakland won the first half, Kansas City winning the second half. Of course, lately, as the bullpen continues to be active for Minnesota, lately Oakland in the division series has had all sorts of problems. To put it mildly, that's in for a strike.
Well, it's easy to tell that they've struggled. The little that we have seen of their closer, Joe Nathan.
You're talking about Minnesota.
Street's become an everyday player for Oakland in this series.
The 2-1 to Bradley. Swinging a high fly ball left center field, but plenty of room here. Hunter cruises over for the catch. 2 down. You know, the last time the A's won a playoff series was 1990. They won 103 games that year to win the AL West, eventually losing the World Series to Cincinnati, but they beat Boston. They have lost their last 9 potential postseason clinching games. Well, today be different for Oakland. And how about earlier today, throwing at the first pitch, there he is working the crowd, the great Rickey Henderson, the all-time stolen base leader in the history of the majors. Remember that team in 1989, the greatest leadoff man the game has ever seen. A little recap as they beat up on the Red Sox that year, outscoring Boston 20-4. Dave Stewart with that stare of his was magnificent. It was the last postseason series win for the Oakland A's, 1990.
Well, they had a great ball club, ended up beating the San Francisco Giants, but those last couple of years, last years of the 80s, led by Tony La Russa, won world championship.
Here's Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt, 1 for 3. So it has been 5,840 days since the A's last won a postseason series.
Well, and that goes without saying, ever since, Billy Beane has always had teams that have done extremely well during the season, but still what's amazing is under his watch they have yet to win a postseason series, but it looks as if they're on the verge right now.
Up by 2 in the 7th inning. Wide on Thomas. Eric Chavez, who's had a real good day, on deck.
Almost an intentional pass here. You thought it was going to be a free shot. There you go. They're just going to go ahead and put him on. Reyes staying in the game, obviously, to face the left-handed hitting Chavez on deck.
Well, the crowd doesn't like it, but they certainly like the afternoon their third baseman is having.
Well, it's absolutely the right move because there's only one way for Eric Chavez to pick up an RBI here. He's either going to get 2 RBIs or none. When you don't drive in a run on a double he hit the last time, you're not going to get one unless you leave the yard.
Big cheers for Chavez, who has homered, walked, and doubled. He's also made another sterling defensive play at third, although that's pretty commonplace. Came in with 1 hit in his last 30 playoff at bats. Ball 1.
Well, we talk about what he's done offensively today, but as you mentioned, Obi, defensively, he's saved 1 or 2 runs, and again, that doesn't show up in the box score, but that's the same as driving in 1 or 2.
On the corner, back to that home run swing in the 2nd inning.
Again, just as we saw with Milton Bradley, it's about getting extension, and Eric Chavez breaking out in a big way after going 1 for 30 in postseason at-bats with that monstrous home run. In talking to Eric, he was telling me that, look, I'm not getting the base hits, but I feel good, and I'm just being too aggressive. I'm trying to make the base hit happen instead of letting the pitcher come to me and getting a pitch I can drive. He had swung at some pitches over his head in Minnesota, out of the zone. He just needs to zone the ball up, get it over the plate, let his bat do the work.
The 2-1. Just a little wide, perhaps downstairs too far. 3-1. Let's check out K-zone.
Well, he's doing exactly what he told you he needed to do, laying off that breaking ball out of the strike zone. The last 2 have been in the same location. You got to figure Reyes is not going to give in. He's going to try to get him to chase that breaking ball again.
Thomas at first. In there for strike. 3-2.
You got to look breaking ball, don't you? I mean,
well, that's what I'm going to say. That everybody's, wow, it's a fastball. How could you not do that? Or a breaking pitch? But he's looking for something off speed and hopes that Denny Reyes makes a mistake and he hangs it and then he can hit it. You throw that pitch right there, heck, you're not looking for it. No reason to swing at it. You still have 1 more strike.
Thomas gets a head start. There's a ground ball to first behind the bag, but foul. So Chavez will swing again here, and Thomas will head on back to first.
Hitting is a lot of guessing, and it's not just random guessing, it's educated guessing. And in a situation like Eric Chavez just had with the 3-1 count, he was guessing for a certain pitch. He didn't get it. The good hitters don't pull the trigger, lay off, know they have another strike. The ones that struggle a bit, they'll swing at it, get themselves into trouble. And Gerald Perry, a big reason why this Oakland A offense has been selective and been productive when they needed to be.
That's the key phrase, when they need to be. The pitch. Swinging a high fly ball to right, deep into the corner. Kadire will watch it go out of play. 7th inning in Oakland. The A's closing in on a sweep of the Minnesota Twins in this American League Division Series. It's Baseball Outdoors. The Twins and the A's from the Coliseum. Rick Sutcliffe, Duke Castiglione, Eric Karros, and Dave O'Brien with you.
Gerald Perry talking about the strategy along with the players, saying offensively for Oakland, forget stats. Just score one more run than your opponent. Patient does not mean taking pitches.
3-2 again. Almost hit him, and he will take ball 4. So back-to-back free passes here, one intentionally by Reyes.
Patient just means getting a good pitch to hit, and that at bat Chavez did not. He'll take the walk, and now the Twins got to go back to their bullpen.
So Minnesota will make another pitching change right now in the 7th with 2 down and runners at first and second. Jay Payton will be on to swing in just a moment. We'll be back in Oakland. The A's once again in a spot where they just about put this thing out of reach in the bottom of the 7th. 2 out, runners at first and second, and Jesse Crain out of the pen for the Twins.
Untouchable down the stretch for Minnesota.
Payton 1 for 3. Ground ball sharply hit, knocked down by Morneau, rolls across the foul line. He flips, and everybody's safe. The bases loaded up for the Oakland A's. The Twins should be out of the inning. But again, a mishandled ground ball. And they're all filled up with 2 down in the 7th.
Well, where Justin Morneau gets himself into trouble is, although he boots the ball at first base, you have all kinds of time. You see him pick the ball up with his glove. If he picks it up with his bare hand, he may have an opportunity to flip it to Jesse Crain. But here, grabs it with his glove and tries to flip it. Gets nothing on it. Doesn't make a good, accurate throw. Just kind of lobs it up there. Allows Jay Payton to score. Anytime the ball gets away from you as an infielder, pick it up with your bare hand.
It's the 3rd error in the game committed by Minnesota.
Wow.
As they face elimination, and here's Nick Swisher. He is 0 for 3, but there's no place to put him.
We got
a little cross up there between Mauer and Crain, big time.
And the only way Mauer could have caught this ball, if it was he's looking fastball and he gets something soft. It was a curveball. If he's looking for a curveball and gets a fastball, this ball would have gotten away, and another mistake would have been made. You know, almost a strike there, as you see him go up to begin with, thinking he knew what he put down. He put down fastball. Crain just didn't know what the signs were there. Now they go out and get him right.
Well, this does not look like the Minnesota Twins that won the division.
They're tight. They're still tight.
That's a strike. Definitely the fastball there at 96. 1-1.
Well, it's almost a mentality out in the field right now for the Twins. It's okay, if it's hit to me, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. Instead of a positive way of looking at it as I'm going to make the play. I'm going to make the play.
Thomas, Chavez, and Payton filling the bases. And that's on the edge of the plate for a strike. Tough pitch, and it's 1-2, but let's see what K-Zone has to say.
Take a look at how well it was caught. Look at that ball being caught and kept just above the knees. I mean, that's a huge difference to have a 1-2 count instead of 2-1.
Yeah, Mauer catching it so deep in the pocket to buy that strike.
He's unbelievable.
Bases filled. Grounded foul, and in pain, Swisher as he collapses around the plate, fouling that one off his foot.
What's that feel like?
Well, as a hitter, you just hate to have that happen because you hit a ball off your shin or your ankle and you start feeling that, and it's just thumping. It's going boom, 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 boom. And then you've got to go in and face another pitch. And as a pitcher, I always felt that the pitcher would want to come back with a similar pitch right in the same spot, because as a hitter, all you're thinking right now is, I am not wearing another one off my foot.
And pitchers are mean.
Those mean pitchers.
I'm guessing Swish does that a lot because seeing the pad down there.
I think of Jermaine Dye.
Oh,
yeah, 0-1 division series every time I see that. Swisher back in. Here comes the 1-2. He left it wide.
You know, you can talk about his 250 average. That's not good. But his on-base percentage was outstanding. A lot of walks, and a walk in this situation right here creates another run.
Well, 6th in the American League with 96 walks, and that says something about your ability to go deep in the count. And anytime you can go deep in the count, you'll get an opportunity to hit.
97, but missing again, and now it's 3-2. The runners will be on the move with 2 down. And for Ron Gardenhire and the Minnesota Twins, the game is coming down perhaps to this pitch. And the series as well.
And don't forget, the way Frank Thomas got on base was an intentional walk.
That with 2 out.
And nobody on.
Well, he's going. It's down low for ball 4. That will force in a run. Here comes Frank Thomas. 5-2 Oakland.
Ken Maka, before the series began, told us that they have not had that kind of an impact in their lineup in a long time. He impacted this inning in scoring that run by taking an intentional pass.
Well, he did, and also credit Nick Swisher for having a very good at-bat. Very easy to get caught up in the moment as a hitter with the bases loaded, a 3-2 count, but he shows his patience, his maturation as a hitter by taking the walk.
This Oakland Athletics team tired of hearing about 2001 and 2003 and their inability, those teams, to close out. Well, here they are trying to run the table on the Twins. Bases reloaded, and Scutaro takes a strike. He's been Mr. Clutch in this series for the A's. RBI double today.
Well, and really this at-bat right here can effectively end the Twins season. He gets a base hit, it's basically game over.
Wide again. 1 ball and 1 strike. Once again to mention it, the last 4 postseason series the A's have played, they've gone 0-9 when trying to eliminate an opponent. This just feels like a different A's team. They believe it is. Confidence is sky high in the stands too. The right-hander with a 1-1 pitch. Check swing, and it's in there for a strike on Scutaro.
Just painting that outside corner with good velocity. But he had 2 strikes on Swisher and lost him.
The A's have scored a run and have loaded the bases a couple of times in the inning without the benefit of a hit. 3 walks and an error. Line drive right field into the corner, slicing, fair ball. Chavez is in, Payton is in, Swisher rounding third. He slides in safe. Bedlam in Oakland. The A's take an 8-2 lead. Scutaro again. He cleans off the bases. And this place is going nuts.
Well, we've been saying Scutaro, and we've been following Scutaro with again. And Marco Scutaro, a big base hit, clearing the bases for this Oakland A ball club, making the advantage 6 runs. And what an impact Marco Scutaro has had for the A's this season.
A bases loaded 3-run double with 2 down in the 7th inning to open up the lead 8-2. They're chanting for Marco Scutaro in Oakland. Jimenez takes it outside. All 4 runs, by the way, so far unearned. Radke has seen the end, and maybe the end of the Minnesota Twins season, as terrific as it has been. Looks to be dying here in Oakland in Game 3. on the corner for a strike. Neshek again warming up the submariner for Minnesota.
And again, no Joe Nathan.
A non-factor. One of the great closers in baseball. Cut on and missed for strike 3. That's the end of the inning. But it's an inning that sees the crowd go wild as the A's score 4 times and open up an 8-2 lead at the end of 7. Back in Oakland, emotions running high. All smiles are the Oakland A's. Marco Scutaro, Nick Swisher there. These guys on fire right now. Scutaro coming up with the bases clearing double. Driving in 3, 8-2 Oakland. As we move on to the top half of the 8th inning. Joe Mauer leading things off for the Twins, who won the Central. This Oakland Athletics squad won the West. And so far in this series, there's been no contest. The A's have been much the better team. As Mauer puts it in play, little worm killer out to Jimenez. One man out here in the 8th. Back to the studio, and our man is Carl Ravitch. Rabbit.
David A-Rod is going to bat 4th tonight for the New York Yankees. Bernie Williams is the DH. Sheffield sits. Giambi hits 5th and plays 1st. The Yankees starting 9 is hitting .391 with 17 homers against Kenny Rogers.
Joe Torre with that lineup can pretty much put names in a hat, can he? When he picks his lineup, just pull them out as Kadire takes a strike.
He's got 9 guys that could hit 3rd for a lot of teams.
Here's Kadire. He is 0 for 3, hit into a double play. He's also grounded out and flied out. Well, I guess that intentional walk of Frank Thomas didn't exactly work out as planned, huh? That's really what started the rally that led to 4 runs.
Well, it really did. But, you know, I mean, I'm going to go back to the fact that when Minnesota makes mistakes, Oakland takes advantage of them. And that's been the story throughout this series. And you know, you saw that play at first base with Justin Morneau unable to come up with the ground ball. They extend the inning, bases loaded, and 4 runs later.
In there for strike 3. Ducher has been sensational in this series. He's retired all 11 men he has faced. The division series presented by Budweiser continues tomorrow. 4 games on ESPN2, FX, and Fox at noon. It's baseball tonight, followed by Padres Cardinals at 4. The Twins and the A's, if necessary. Also at 4, Yankees Tigers. And finally at 7:30 on Fox, Game 3 of the Dodgers Mets series. Swing, that's a deep drive out to right field, way back, and this one's gone. Well, that's the end of that string by Ducher as Morneau touches them all here. That makes it 8-3.
Yeah, but how big now are those unearned runs?
Yeah, I'm sure Justin Morneau would give that home run back for fielding that ball cleanly any day of the week.
Morneau now a triple shy of the second, but not much joy as he descends into the dugout. That just makes it a 5-run lead. Torrey Hunter now. He has homered and doubled. He's also called out at home plate amidst the controversy. Mike Everett, the home plate umpire, thought he had been tagged by Jason Kendall. You think about that inning just a little bit more. If Torrey Hunter had not tried to score, let's say he holds up at third base instead of trying to score on it. In the 6th inning, what would have been 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. They would have been down just 4-2. Swing, fly ball left center. Kotsay says he has it. Moving on owner. He's got it. Side retired. Ducher gives up a home run. But it's now 8-3. We are in the middle of the 8th, and the A's are in command big time in the division series.
It's late.
So Minnesota not only trailing in the series but in the game, but there's Houston Street. They also have to contend with him as we are on to the last half of the 8th inning. Top of the order for the A's, Kendall, Kotsay, Bradley. 8-3 Oakland on the verge of clinching in a sweep this division series against the Minnesota Twins, and here the A's are ahead by 5, and the closer is warming up.
Well, outstanding stuff there. You can see the innings pitched, the ERA.
Kendall rakes that one, caught by Bartlett. One man out. Let's go back to the studio now and Carl Ravitch. Carl.
Hi, Dave. Thank you very much. You watched Nomar last night. You know he was in pain. An MRI exam this morning showed a slight tear in the upper quad. He will not start tomorrow, but he is available to pinch hit. Of course, their game is coming up tomorrow night.
I remember Kirk Gibson. Kotze 0 for 4. Swings and a fly ball gently into left. Here comes Rondell White. He puts it away, and they're 2 down in the Oakland 8th inning. A due-up in the 9th for the Minnesota Twins against Houston Street. Last gasp time for the Twins, and White time at Bartlett.
Ken Maka told us before the game something that he learned that helped him as a manager back in May of '05 from the Tampa Bay manager, then Lou Piniella. He said, don't worry about tomorrow. That's why Street is up and throwing now.
Hilton Bradley skies that one to left field right at Rondell White, and that's a very quick inning. 1, 2, 3 they go. But it's going to be a quick exit unless you see a miracle come from behind win by Minnesota, facing Street in a moment, down 8-3. The A's fans have the brooms out and ready for a sweep. Top half of the 9th inning, leading 8-3. Houston Street has just raced in from the bullpen. Duke sure got through his warm-up tosses. Ken Maka then made the move.
Well, Street got up and was going to come in to pitch no matter here in the top of the 9th, but with only 5 pitches thrown in the bottom of the 8th, he wasn't ready. So Ken Maka just bought some time. He sent Derbyshire back out there to warm up. It gave Street time to get ready. Now he's ready to go.
Fascinating. The A's have only out-hit Minnesota by 2 in the entire series, 26-24, and yet 3 outs away from sweeping Minnesota. Dan Herron in line for the win. Torrey Hunter and the Twins only have 3 more outs to work. Since '99, only 2 teams have swept the postseason series without trailing in any game. And the A's have not trailed in this series, not for a second, against Minnesota.
Well, that changes the way you play the game. If you don't trail, you can be more aggressive. You can take more chances. When you are trailing, trying to catch up, you play a bit more defensive. You let things happen. And when you don't make plays, things are magnified. And more so than any series I've seen in quite a while, when Minnesota makes mistakes, Oakland takes advantage.
And you know, guys, what we've learned about the A's in this series is, to me, what has become so interesting about baseball. Attendance just going through the roof again this year. They've got the Hall of Famer that's still getting it done in Frank Thomas. They've got Jason Kendall and Mark Kotze in their prime that are getting it done. And they've got guys like Danny Herron and Swisher, young budding superstars that are busting through, having success at the big league level.
Rondell White will finally get in here for the 9th inning in front of just under 36,000 in Oakland. And the A's fans can smell it. In recent years, they've been deeply disappointed. But they are ready to explode here today. Rondell White is 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Twins thought he should have had a 2-run single in the 6th inning. But Torrey Hunter was gunned out at the plate. That's in for a strike.
You know what else is going to make this Oakland A ball club difficult is there isn't one guy. Thomas in the first game, Eric Chavez today, Kotze and Scudero, Kendall making defensive plays.
Big swing and a miss. Is any other team playing with more confidence in the playoffs right now than the Oakland A's?
You know, one thing, too, that gives you a lot of confidence, OB, is the fact that when you get a lead, they've got the guys that can hold it for you.
The 0-2. Just low.
It's great to see Street back with his legs. You can't throw 94 miles an hour if you don't have your legs underneath you. He does now.
Street with a 1-2. Line shot into left center field. That's going to bounce. Kotze will cut it down. And it'll be a long single for Rondell White. His 3rd hit today. Twins trying to hang around, build a big comeback, and stun the A's
Number 12.
Is that the start of it? Down by 5. We're going to bring on a runner for Rondell White at first base as Jason Tyner gets ready to dig in here. It'll be Lou Ford for White. Tyner running up as if to bunt and missed it. Strike 1.
Well, and these are the guys in this Twins offense, whether Jason Tyner, the Piranhas, we said Jason Tyner, Nick Punto, Luis Castillo, Jason Bartlett, they have to get on so the middle of the lineup can produce. They've been 8 for 37 this series. 8 for 37. I mean, it's non-existent production.
Oakland on the verge of a sweep.
Yeah, and then you look at the Oakland A's and what they've gotten from the bottom of the order. They've gotten as much from the bottom as they have from the heart of the order.
Under an hour before Yankees-Tigers. The series tied up at a game apiece. Outside. Eric Karros, I think, made a great point earlier about the fact that, yeah, Minnesota's hit a few home runs in the series. In fact, now they've hit 4. But they're all solo home runs. They just didn't do damage.
Well, and that's one of the keys to beating this Minnesota Twin. Keep the other guys off base. Morneau, Mauer, Hunter, you're not going to be able to contain them. Contain the guys around him.
Inside nearly hit him. Tyner spinning around. He got free of it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A terrific season for this Minnesota team. 1.12.5 games back. Surging on in the second half. Won the division in shocking fashion last day of the season. Ground ball to second. Jimenez feeds Scudero. 1 on a first. Double play. 2 down in the 9th.
Number 18, Jason Bartlett.
Houston Streets has one more batter to get to pave the road to the American League Championship Series. Here's Bartlett. He's 0 for 3. Down low for ball 1. Oakland trying to become the first team to advance to the championship series. Little flare into right. Bradley coming on. And he has to play it off the bounce. It'll be a base hit for Bartlett. Second hit in the inning from Minnesota. Trying not to go quietly. A peek inside the Oakland Athletics clubhouse. It's getting ready. The plastic is up over the lockers. Getting ready to celebrate. The champagne on ice. Carrot Top's here. Must be party time. Man on at first. Here's Castillo. That's a strike. Luis Castillo 1 for 4 with a single.
You know, before it's too late, you got to congratulate the Minnesota Twins on a great year, and in particular right now I think about Brad Radke and a great career.
Which came to an end today. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike on the leadoff hitter.
A lot of things to be proud of for the Minnesota Twins. Coming back and catching Detroit on the last day of the year.
Not only to be proud of, but to look forward to.
But right now it's the A's looking forward in October as that one missed. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ken Maka and his team 1 out away from sweeping the Minnesota Twins in the first round. Little pop-up twisting foul. Peyton with a long run, but will not get to it.
They all want to have that ball in their glove for this last out. And you know what? Street would like nothing more than to leave the ball in a guy's glove that has never played in the postseason before. That would be catcher Jason Kendall.
Two down in the ninth. 2-2 on Castillo. Street ready. He fires. Popped up. There's Payton. And the Oakland Athletics have swept the Minnesota Twins. It is on to the American League Championship Series for the A's. The opportunity to clinch, and this time, Oakland does not stumble. The A's win it 3 in a row. I think many in baseball figured this would be maybe the most competitive series. But this is one of those that would definitely go to 5 games. But the Oakland Athletics proved to be the dominant team this October.
Well, Oakland, a very dangerous ball club and very well balanced. Not any one component where they're weak, and seem to take advantage of all the opportunities.
But the guy that whoever faces them in the American League Championship Series, the guy that they will fear the most will be the guy that got them started in this series, and that's Big Frank Thomas. He homered in his first at-bat in spring training. He homered in his first at-bat, his first game in the regular season. He homered when he went back to Chicago. He homered in his first at-bat in the division series. You know he's going to try to homer in that first at-bat in the ALCS.
That was a pretty bitter exit for Frank Thomas in Chicago after 16 years and a Hall of Fame caliber career. The bitter end of the series for Torrey Hunter. But for Big Frank, it's on to the League Championship Series and a winner of the Tigers-Yankees. This is a fun team to watch, the Oakland A's. And they sweep Minnesota. Time for us now to go downstairs to Duke Castiglione with our player of the game, Eric Chavez.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. You and Barry Zito, the only 2 guys that have been with the Oakland A's the last 4 times they've been to the playoffs. In that time period, you guys 0 for 9 in elimination games, yet you come through today. How important is that for you?
Well, it's really important. It's the first time we've been able to advance, so there's been a lot of good teams, but I think, last week we've been talking about a crapshoot, and Minnesota Twins, the hottest team in baseball, and that last 2 weeks we were kind of slowing down a little bit, and we were able to beat them. So, once you get in the playoff in a 5-game set, anything can happen.
To get over that 0 for 9 stigma there in elimination games, how big is that for this organization?
It's big. It's been a while. So, like we said, we've had a lot of chances at it, and we're finally able to come through and do it. And bringing over Frank, bringing over Milton, bringing over Loiza. It's the first offseason we went and brought free agents in, and it really paid off.
How about for you personally, coming into this game, you're 1 for your last 30 in the postseason, yet you homer today, get on base 4 times. What was the reason for the success?
I don't know. It's just you go out there, you give it your best shot. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I've always been a streaky hitter over my career, and today I just came. I've had pretty decent success off of Radke, and he likes to throw strikes, so I was just ready to hit strikes when he threw them.
Yankees and Tigers play a little bit under an hour from now. You guys going to watch that game as a team?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, obviously we got to pay attention to what's going on. So it's going to be an interesting series. Like I said, we're probably going to have a couple days here, see what happens, but we're ready to go.
All right, thanks for your time. Congratulations. I'll be back to you.
Eric Chavez, Duke, thank you very much. Today's Chevrolet Player of the Game. Eric Chavez, and in recognition of his outstanding play, Chevrolet makes a $1,000 contribution to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Meanwhile, there's Brad Radke. 2 different faces, huh? You see Swisher, who has been rollicking his way through the regular season and the playoffs, and Radke just doesn't want to leave. His career is over. 8-3 the final. Oakland beats Minnesota. Next on ESPN Sports Center. For Rick Sutcliffe, Eric Karros, Duke Castiglione, and our entire crew, I'm Dave O'Brien, thanking you so much for joining us. They're pouring the champagne in Oakland. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. It's the A's in 3 on to the league championship. As we say goodbye from Oakland, time for Sports Center.